So I want to cast 4 free spells, please. 4 free spells, please. 4 free spells, please. Wow. That might have been the grossest Atali I've ever had. Hey there everybody, it's your boy Conquest, back with another deck tech. Today we're looking at Naya Midrange. The first card we're going to take a look at is our build around card. It's called Annie Joins Up. It's a 4 mana legendary enchantment for 1 red, green, and white, so it keeps us in Naya colors. When Annie Joins Up enters, it deals 5 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls. It has a secondary line of text that says, if a triggered ability of a legendary creature you control triggers, that ability triggers an additional time. I've taken the liberty of breaking the deck down into a few subcategories. The first category we're going to look at is going to be mana production, fixing, and acceleration. To kick off that category, we have Ruby, Daring Tracker, 2 mana 1/2 legendary human scout, haste, the ability to tap for red or green. Ruby's triggered ability provides her with +2/+2 if she attacks while we control another creature with power 4 or greater. With Annie Joins Up, this actually turns into a +4/+4 trigger. The next card in this category is Ironcrag, a 2 mana legendary artifact that taps for a colorless mana. Generally, this is going to be a simplified mana rock, but in certain situations in the late game, it can turn into an equipment that allows us to our creature to gain +3/+3. The next card in our mana package is Huatli, Poet of Unity, 2 and a green, for a 2/3 legendary creature, human warrior bard. When Huatli, Poet of Unity enters, search your library for a basic land card, reveal it, put it into your hand, then shuffle. That would be her triggered ability, which would be doubled up with Annie Joins Up if it's on the battlefield, so we actually get 2 lands. Also has an activated ability, which is not doubled. 3 red-white hybrid. Exiler, return her as an enchantment known as Roar of the Fifth People. Provides 6 power immediately, and then has the added benefit of, searching for our big dinosaur. Last but not least in our mana package, we have Mura, Trash Tactician, 1 red-green, for a 2/4 legendary raccoon warrior. Beginning of your first main phase, add red or green for each raccoon you control. This is only going to be Mura, so this is kind of just a free red or green per main phase. When you expend 4, expending is when you spend that much mana in a single turn on spells, casting spells. When you expend 4, you gain 3 life. When you expend 8, exile the top 2 cards of your library. Until the end of your next turn, you may play those cards. So, fun fact, every one of these abilities is a triggered ability. So at the beginning of your main combat phase, you get to add 2 mana if you have Annie Joins Up. If you expend 4, you actually gain 6 life, and if you expend 8, you actually exile the top 4 cards of your library. You can play all those cards. So Mura has some definite value in this deck, providing a bridge between 3 to 5, as well as having some crazy synergy with Annie Joins Up. Our next category of card is going to be legendary creatures that synergize very well with Annie Joins Up and kind of fill up the meat of our mid-range deck. The first card in that category is Anim Pakal, 1000th Moon, 1 red-white for a legendary creature, human soldier. It's a 1/2. Whenever you attack with 1 or more non-gnome creatures, put a 1/1 counter on Anim Pakal, then create X/1/1 colorless gnome artifact tokens that are tapped and attacking, where X is the number of +1/+1 counters on Anim Pakal. So that would generate 2 counters and actually 2 sets of gnomes that are attacking. So that that entire ability triggers twice. Next up, we have Beza, the Bounding Spring. So Beza's 2 and 2 white for an elemental elk. It's a 4/5. When it enters, we get to create a token if our opponent controls more lands. If they have more life than us, we gain 4. If they have more creatures than us, we make 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens. And if they have more cards in hand than we do, we get to draw a card. So all of those would get doubled if we have Annie Joins Up. We have Bruce Tarl here, Roving Rancher, 2 red and a white for a legendary creature, human warrior. It's a 4/3. That says Oxen you control have double strike. We don't really have any Oxen outside of what the tokens this one produces, so that's only going to matter there. But it does say whenever Bruce Tarl, Roving Rancher, enters or attacks, exile the top card of your library. If it's a land card, create a 2/2 white ox creature token. Otherwise, you may cast it until the next turn. So this provides us with that exile draw, that impulse draw, if you will, from the kind of red kind of gets. some extra cards, and also has the added benefit of providing some bodies, that could be lethal or, represent at least 4 damage if they do have the double strike with Bruce Hall out. At a 5-mana slot, we got Dragonhawk, Fate's Tempest, 3 double red, legendary creature Bird Dragon. It's a 5/5 flyer. When it enters or attacks, you get to exile the top cards of your library, where X is the number of creatures you control with power 4 or greater. This will trigger off of a bunch of our different creatures: Beza, Bruce, Dragonhawk, Roxanne, Atali. All of these have 4 power or greater. And you may play those cards into your next step. Beginning your next end step, Dragonhawk deals 2 damage to each opponent for each of those cards that are still exiled. Again, this will trigger twice for if you have any joins up. This is a triggered ability. So you get the added benefit of potentially doming your opponent for, 4, if you have 2 creatures, particularly it could be 8 if you're not casting anything. So just kind of out of nowhere, Annie joins up, plus Dragonhawk is either a lot of card advantage or just a lot of reach damage. Now for some big hitters, we got Roxanne, Starfall Savant, 3 red-green for a 4/3 cat druid. If anyone plays Brawl, you're probably familiar with this card. When Roxanne, Starfall Savant enters or attacks, again, this is a 3rd card in a row that either enters or attacks, and these are all triggered abilities that get doubled by joins up. You get to create a colorless tapped artifact token named Meteorite. When Meteorite enters, it deals 2 damage to any target, and you get to tap to add any 1 mana of any color. The Meteorite is not legendary, so you don't get to double up with the Annie joins up, but you do get 2 Meteorites, which that's essentially 4 damage and 2 mana every time you get to attack or you enter with Roxanne plus an Annie. Additionally, whenever you tap an artifact token for mana, add 1 mana of any type that artifact token produced. So if Roxanne's still around, when you're tapping your Meteorites, you actually get more mana. But Roxanne's really easy to go from 5 to 7. If you're wondering why we need to go to 7, our next card is Atali, Primal Conqueror. A 7 mana, 5 red, trample 7/7. So it's going to be an Elder Dinosaur legendary creature. When it enters the battlefield, each player exiles the top cards from their library until they exile a non-land card. You may cast any number of spells with non-land cards exiled this way without paying any of the mana costs, and it has a transform ability for 9 plus a Phyrexian green. The enters ability is going to be the most impactful, especially when Annie joins up. That could be potentially up to 4 free spells that all are very impactful. Atali is obviously also just a way to shut down games. A 7/7 trample, it's an absolute body. There isn't much that's going to be outpacing this in the format currently. Atraxa obviously, outside of Reanimator stuff, no one's going to be casting a 7 mana 7/7. And then with Annie joins up, getting all that extra value, being able to cast potentially up to 4 free spells is insane. In the weird matchups where you have a bajillion mana, and this is still around after you untap and you didn't win off of casting free spells, you do have the ability to, transform this into Atali Primal Sickness. Just have that 11/11 trample indestructible beat stick that straight up will just poison your opponent even if they gain a bunch of health. So I think this card is definitely the end all be all. Once this comes down, the game pretty much has to be over, or you're probably not winning. Finally, to round out our deck, we got some removal package. Just 4 copies of Get Lost, 4 copies of Soul Partition. This kind of just keeps us in. Annie joins up, also has the added benefit of dealing 5 damage to something. So we technically have 13 quote-unquote pieces of removal. And generally that's going to be good enough. The Roxanne can help randomly shoot things off as well. But between Get Lost and Soul Partition, you're generally pretty safe against most threats. They are pretty ubiquitous. They can take out anything. And Soul Partition has the added benefit of exiling, so we don't get dinged by the mouse. Alright, time to look at the sideboard. Definitely some pieces you should be familiar with. We have 1 copy of Ghost Vacuum and 2 copies of Rest in Peace. These are all for the Reanimator type strategies. We want to shut off anything going on in the graveyards. We don't really interact with our own graveyards. We have no problem slamming down a Rest in Peace or a Ghost Vacuum against the Oculus decks or the Zombify / Squirming Emergence decks. These all feel pretty good to hit. And we don't actually have anything to worry about on our own end. We have 3 copies of Temporary Lockdown. We don't have too many 2s outside of the removal and maybe an Iron Craig or a Ruby. So hitting a temporary lockdown and just blowing out, like, you know, the mono red deck, or even the blue-white, like, aggressive invoke kind of deck, these all just, like, absolutely shut those down, and again, without too much penalty to ourselves, and allows us to move more into a top-end kind of control mid-range, or, you know, like a true mid-range, as opposed to just being something that kind of, like, you know, an aggressive deck that kind of board doubles up as a mid-range deck. This kind of allows us to push us right into a full mid-range deck. We got a copy of Vivian Reed, again, great against control. Allows us to kind of, like, have some extra draws, and has the added benefit of blowing up random artifacts and enchantments that might be problematic, or again, or a creature with flying. Looking at you, Atraxa. Our next set of cards is 2 copies of Invasion of Gabakon. This is again for our control matchups, kind of help us stave off any Sunfalls up, you know, for 2 extra turns. So, you know, Sunfall on 5 is pretty bad against a deck that you're trying to, like, cast 4 and 5 drops on, but a Sunfall on 7 against a deck that you've played a bunch of really scary 4 and 5 drops against is not as, like, not near as scary. So I definitely think this has its place, especially against Sunfall. We got some Lightning Helixes here, again, some cheap removal, an interaction, some 2-mana stuff that kind of provides us with a little bit of a barrier or a buffer to keep us alive against the red decks. This, again, I definitely bring this in against any sort of mono red, or the Gruul aggro, or the red white Boros auras, anything like that. I'd definitely be bringing this in. Anything that runs a mouse, I kind of like the Lightning Helixes. And finally, we got Urbrat's Forge. This is to be brought in against control decks that aren't running Authority of the Consuls, or something like black-blue that has all of the interaction. This card's pretty good against, you know, non-stop 1-for-1 removal. We just keep getting bodies that get bigger slowly. Urbrat's Forge, it's there for black-blue control, like the dimmer, the dimmer deck that's going around with Kaito and stuff. It's pretty good against that, as well as you know, your standard blue-white control or whatever else they're playing these days. And that is Naya Midrange, Naya Legends, whatever you want to call it. That is the deck. Hope you guys are excited to see some gameplay coming up right away. It's game time! Welcome back, people. We are in for some best of 3 standard. Playing Naya Midrange, Naya Legendaries, whatever you want to call it. This is keepable. Let's do it. We'll go Ridgeline into play tapped. Next turn we can go Plaza of Heroes into Ruby. If they have removal for Ruby, whatever. We do have the lands to play the NHOAs up and have the Dragonhawk. This looks like some sort of version of Mono Red. I don't know if we're too worried. I think we just Anti-Joins up, kill that. And then if we still have Ruby the following turn, we can go into Dragonhawk doubled up. Yeah, like that. Alright, opponent. I'm assuming some sort of another mouse. Yeah. Do you have the spell for it as well, or we're just taking 2? Just 2. Alright. Yeah, we go Dragonhawk here. There's no reason not to. We'll shoot our opponent for 4. And they have to have very specific cards to get rid of this. All we gotta do now is, I think, you know, if they attack us, we let the damage go through. And then follow-up turn, you know, next turn, we put ourselves in a position where we can shoot our opponent. Let's see. Alright, let's take the 5, right? We take the 5. If they have the monstrous, and we take an extra 4, so we take 9, go to 9. I think that's fine. We definitely just want the availability to play as many creatures as possible, or I guess play spells as possible. So, do we lead with Beza here? If we go Beza, we get to gain 8 life. Or, no, never mind, the triggers happen individually. So all we do is we gain 4 life, and we draw a card. That's not too bad. So Bivouac. We can draw 2 cards and gain 4 life. I have a 4/5, double trigger Dragonhawk. I think this is working in our favor. So now we attack here for 10. Opponent takes 10. We trigger, trigger, trigger. And then trigger, trigger, trigger. Because Benny joins up. We pass and they take 12? That seems pretty good. Alright. We're playing against mono red. We can go temporary lockdowns, we can go the lightning helixes. I think that's probably our best bets. I'm gonna get rid of the Get Lost, as that provides their mice with extra like triggers. You know, they could get the Valiant triggers off that. So we're gonna go the lightning helix and the temporary lockdowns. And we need to get rid of 2 more cards here. I think our best options are something's gonna be a little slower and it's like probably like not gonna be impactful. I'm gonna go with maybe 1 Atali and that second card's gonna be interesting. I think we take care out. It's probably gonna be the Adam Pakal. It's just a 1/2. It dies to all sorts of other removal, and we have to have another creature for it to be good. Yeah, I think that's probably our best bet. We're not worried about them like, so, you know, with the sweepers anyways. But I don't think a bunch of 1/1s wins this game more than anything else we have doing. Alrighty, let's try that off and see if we can score a win against mono red. Arguably one of the best decks in the format. Alright, 2 mana. We got Beza, we got Soul Partition. It's not great, but I don't want to necessarily mulligan to a worse 6. We can draw a bunch of our different. I think we keep it. We just gotta hope to survive until we can, you know, resolve this Beza. Alright, so that Huatley's great as long as we hit a 3rd land. That'll definitely get us into a position to have enough. Alright, so we're taking 3 here. Bop, bop. Oh, awkward positioning. I think we have to take all the damage. This coming into play tapped, and just, you know, not having it on turn 1. I think we definitely want to have the Huatley next turn. Yeah, because I know it sounds terrible. Oh, that's not great either. I think we're gonna bottom that, play the Huatley next turn, find the extra source or land source to go ahead and Beza. Now, opponent is struggling on land. That's kind of gross. We temporary lockdown. Do we think they scoop? That's. I think we just go for it. Again, we're 1 land away from being able to cast Beza to gain the 4 life back. I think that really puts us far ahead. That temporary lockdown's kind of huge. That was a pretty big draw for us for sure. So now we can play Huatley, grab a land, put that into play tapped. Unless we draw the land, then I think I might just Beza. Opponent is thinking long and hard. But let's see what they're trying to think. A long thought process. I like the little googly-eyed rock. I was wondering if you click the flowers, you get anything. Kind of like the googly eyes in the Dustmorn board. Oh. There you go. There is something you can click. Oh, I can make drip drops too. All right, opponent. think opponent's pretty mad that we temporarily locked down them, and that they're stuck on one land. Long, hard thoughts from our opponent. Oh man, this is a Jeopardy theme song waiting to happen. Oh, okay, they just let it go. That's cool. Well, we drew a tapped land, so I'm gonna just play the Huatley after the tapped land. Go get an untapped land, because it's basically... Yeah, so we'll go get a... forest. Yeah, we'll go to a forest, and... pass the turn. Next turn, we can just drop a Roxanne, we can drop a Beza, we have all sorts of options. I think we are looking good, though. Opponent may have DC'd or just rage quit after we temporary lockdown, but dear God, they are taking their sweet time. I can feel the salt. I had a good feeling that this was going to be a, a pretty powerful sideboard card, especially considering, the way our deck is built. We don't have a whole lot of, things that cost... We have nothing that costs 1 and only, what? 2 rubies and 3 iron crags. So, we just do not have 2 drops even, really. Our 2s are Soul Partition and Get Lost, right? I think this turn we should probably win. Our opponent will probably lose to the rope. That or they are literally just slow playing us to the max. But even if they are, that's fine. Not gonna lie, I got football over on this monitor, so I'm kinda watching that and kicking the shit out of this guy, so it's all good for me. Alright, opponent, come on. A little bit of BM from our opponent. I would have assumed this is just a DC, but they are... There it goes. Alright, well, free win, I guess, in the game 2. We played game 1 pretty well, and honestly, that temporary lockdown definitely won us the game. I think our opponent just scooped and DC'd after that. It's game time! It's your boy Conquest, best of 3 standard, Naya Legends, Naya Midrange, whatever you want to call it. We get to play first, wow! A fairly keepable hand, no mana acceleration, but I'm not, hating it. It's fine. The mana's pretty good. I think we just lead with a good old Carplusion, get our opponent, wondering what's going on. Teething Wormlet, eh? Well, I think we then go into Plains and end the turn. Good old instant speed, Soul Partition if they try to get anything tricky with this Teething Wormlet. I'm just going to get rid of this Wormlet before it can attack us and generate value. Alright. Let's go good old Plaza of Heroes. We can play our Anam Pakal. It's not the greatest line, but puts some pressure on our board. Makes our opponent have to be at least somewhat cognizant of what we're up to. Okay, so they just replay that. I don't mind that. Let's go Iron Craig. Well, attack then Iron Craig. We can go here for colorless, and then here for colorless. Iron Craig. At least up a Soul Partition. I think actually that's really strong. So if they just go to attack phase, we can just exile the Teething Wormlet again. Sure. Oh, I let that happen before I wanted it to let that happen. Well, that's unfortunate. Now do we just keep this partition? No, just get rid of this. I don't want him gaining life and getting counters. That was a bit of a mistake. We should have had the should have had a stop in their I guess combat phase. That was a bit of a mistake. Let's just go. I kind of like the Dragonhawk here over the Beza. Although we do need to draw a card off the Beza. Let's just go Dragonhawk. That's fine. To make some stuff. Decline. I'd like to keep my... It's fine. Alright, so we didn't get a land. We can play the land. We can attack with everything. Make a bunch of guys. I think this is fine. Alright, our opponent's at 7. They have to have an answer for the Dragonhawk, because that kills them by itself. And we do have man lands. We can even like animate the ridge line attack with the Dragonhawk for 7. So they do have an answer for the Dragonhawk. Seems like a slightly strange choice to attack with both. You'd think they would have left one available. I'm just gonna play the land, animate the ridge line. There's no reason not to. I guess we could have done the bivouac and got Enipakal. Alright, some sort of weird white-green artifact combo deck. I think temporary lockdown is gonna be huge. And I kinda even like Vivian Reed a little bit. How do we get rid of for this, though? So, Get Lost doesn't get rid of our artifacts, right? Just enchantments, creatures, planeswalkers, and then Soul Partition's any permanent. Do we get rid of the Get Losts? And then add the Vivian Reed? Because that gives them the artifact tokens, right? And like they're clearly going to be benefiting off of those somehow. Via ETBs off the Wormlet, or just sheer number of artifacts they have. So I think that's probably our best bet. I like it. Soul Partition and Temporary Lockdown should be adequate enough for this deck list. And if they have any kind of like big scary beat stick, we also still have all the anti-joins up. I'm sure we'll be fine. I don't think removal is going to be the reason why we lose, if we do lose. Probably, more likely it'll be like a lack of threats or bad mana. That would be the reason why we lose. Opponent is still deciding whether who goes first. Alright. Let's tune to play tap lands. It's not the greatest feel, but we do have some acceleration in Ruby and Huatli. Plus, I do like the soul partitions here. I think we're fine. I think we keep this and hope for a untapped land so that we can do some, as I say, acceleration. Well, this is... Where do we go? Where do we go? We're more than likely to draw a red source out of anything, so I think we lead with this so we get best chance of casting Ruby. We have more red sources than any other type of land in our deck. Alright, so that's very unfortunate, but what do we do? I think we take that, obviously. Plaza's great. We can go Ruby into Ironcrag next turn, which is pretty sweet. Next turn we have access to, Huatli plus Soul Partition. We have access to just casting a Vivian Reed. Double Dollmaker's Shop is a little intimidating, I think. Alright, so they make 2 dudes, make a big old 2/3. Mind this too much. I think we're fine. Okay, so we go Huatli. Search for a basic land. We grab a mountain. We're gonna hold up. So we're not worried about the 1/1s, but we do have to get rid of the Archer Activist. So we're non-toy token creatures. Okay, so go to Ossification. More, I'm assuming on the Huatli, right? Trying to figure out if I want to just soul partition the Watley after the attack. No, we just get... This is 2. You can't recast this. I think we just get rid of this. Oh, they have a royal treatment in hand. That is not good for us. Alright, well, we'll take it 5. It definitely hurts. No blocks. Our best draw would 100% be... That's pretty good too, but I was gonna say temporary lockdown. So I think we just play this Brushland, cast the Beza. And we pass. I would have liked to been able to, you know, draw a card, but obviously our opponent's been ripping through their deck and playing pretty much everything. Oh, Enduring Innocence is a really good one too. Yep, try another one. It's got Ward 1 now though, doesn't it? I only have 1 mana, so I can't even do that. Yep. All this is very good. Now, it doesn't have trample, so we can just chump with a 1/1. But we are definitely searching for answers. Is there anything we want to soul partition? Not particularly, right? This is not great. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 mana total, potentially. We could get another one with Watley, but we already have a land in hand. If we Vivian, destroy the ossification, get the Watley back, does that matter? Because we're... no attacks. I don't even know what we're hoping for. That's pretty good. But we have soul partition just for that, right? Resolve. Resolve. Yeah, this one here. Boop. All right. It wasn't like the end all be all, but that was pretty good, right? Was a good soul partition when we needed it. It's a really bad land draw when we did not need it. I'm trying to figure out if like destroying this 4, 5, 6, 7, so they only need a mana to play it and potentially kill us. Vivian Reed. I think you know, it's our safest play. We really needed a temporary lockdown like forever ago. That's going to be like the key card in this matchup. So. Alright, so another Archivist draws a card. Again, if we can somehow find and like cast a temporary lockdown, I think we are in a much better position. Just currently trying to deal with this board is insane. Again, clearly just chumping the Archivists, right? Not in a really good position to do anything else. We just take the 10? No. Yeah, sure. Alright. Temporary lockdown or bust, I think, right now. Yeah, and any joins up does not do it. And Vivian Reed doesn't search for enchantments. And it wasn't there anyways. Hey, we can still find it, right? 3, 4, 5, 6, 8. So we have 1 mana available after this. It's the only card that matters, right? We have to find temporary lockdown. We found Soul Partition and Skrell's Hive, which is not good enough. That's all I got. No attacks. Alright, opponent. Again, we really needed that, but never could find our temporary lockdowns. We're only 20 cards deep, but technically we, 20 plus those 3 that we didn't, are on the bottom now. We hit all our soul partitions. Ossification for the Atali, attack with everything effectively. Draws more cards. I think we just lose now. I don't even think temporary lockdown can get us back from the value that they've accrued. Yeah, let's go to game 3. We have to hit the lockdown. Alright, so we need temporary lockdown. It's not gonna matter of anything else. Nothing else really matters. The rest of our deck is fine. We could probably lose the Anapakal because they're obviously going to have just as many dudes as we do. But I can't. Like, what do we put in over that? 1 copy of like a Lightning Helix or something? I don't think so. Or 1 for 1 of them is not going to be good enough. We have to hit the temporary. Alright. That or just be, present a much quicker clock than we did last game. We didn't really have much going on. They were the ones being the aggressor. All we had was Soul Partitions, which was, like I said, us losing was going to be dependent on not having enough threats, not having enough removal. Alright, going to play tapped, go ahead. Then we can go into Iron Crag. This is not a fast clock by any means, but what else can we do? So Forest, Crag. At least we got Huatli next turn. We're not completely dead on, well, not dead, but I mean, like, we actually have something to play on. 3. Just cast the Huatli. Decline. Let's go get a Forest. Play the Forest. So next turn we have the ability to go into Dragonhawk. It's good. They both go to 2/2s, right? Bink bink. Oh wow. Over the Dragonhawk, I think we actually just go Roxanne. Kill one of these Teething Wormlets. Decline. No attacks. I think we just let that happen. They could Royal Treatment and keep it alive. And honestly, let's let them have that. Now an extra land, play the land. Enduring Innocence. Seems good. So I think we go Plaza of Heroes. Now if we go here, that's a 5/4. We only get 1. I want to lead with Atali, just in case we do hit the card we want. I'm going to take the action here as well. So they have to have... Ooh. That seems pretty good. I think we exile... this... Top card, temporary lockdown. Oh, 1 card away. attack with our... And we'll shoot the Enduring Innocence. So if they want to block, they have to get rid of their entire board. And we still have a Tali, so we're going to just flip next turn for sure and try for the kill. Temporary lockdowns still get to hang out, so it's Enduring Innocence is fine, but is that going to be good enough to keep them alive? 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I actually don't have enough. I don't have the 10. I can't count it wrong. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Definitely counted wrong. We couldn't flip a Tali if we wanted to. So the real question is, do we just temporary lockdown to get rid of the Wormlet, but we also lose 2 Meteorite tokens and a Higura's Legacy? So I don't think so. Honestly, we go here. There we are. Opponent goes to 7. They got rid of our Bruce Tarl out of all the things they could have got rid of. Interesting. Another Enduring Innocence. Hey, when you got them, draw some cards. They are stalling out pretty well. Sentinel makes a token. Pass. Alright, do we just go Beza and hope for the best draw? See what we draw. I'm pretty sure we're just going to be tossing this on here. Alright. Again, it's not lethal. I don't think we had lethal. Maybe if we would have animated the land instead of trying to equip the Everflame, but we're gonna put them in an awkward position for sure. We don't have very good blocks. Makes the most sense, I think. They go effectively to 2 and keep 1 blocker. All right, Archivist. I don't think that matters. It's just, none of this game's in life, which is the biggest thing I think right now. So Innocence, obviously, they're all dead. So the Wormlet might be a problem if they draw... Oh, obviously, they're gonna have, yeah. Okay, sure, draw another card. They're gonna attack, make an artifact, gain a life. Sorry, make 2 tokens, gain 2 life. That still has them dead, though, to the Atali, right? Or am I entirely wrong? All right. I think this is good enough. If this isn't lethal, then I'm fucked. They have no more life link, so their life total is what it is. 5, 6, 7. So they have to have... That's still trample. Yeah, this trample still kills them. We definitely got them. Ugh. That was terrible. That was way too stressful. Good game, though. It's game time. Back with another one. Best of 3 standard. Naya Midrange. Naya Legendaries. Whatever you want to call it. Can we get some more wins? I like the look of this. It's not great, but 2 Atalis is like it looks cool. I'll start Brushland and then lead into Plaza of Heroes. Ironcrag. Alright, are they on the white-blue like artifact deck, the white-blue Convoke deck, Control, Oculus? Man, Standard's crazy if you think about it. There's so many different decks we could be playing right now. Opponent leads with Adhikar wasted. I'm like, oh, okay, some sort of talent. Interesting. Really interesting, actually. I was not expecting to see talent of white-blue. It's supposed to be some sort of a homebrew slash unique take. I like it. Sherbert, it's a nurturing pixie to rebalance the Storm Chaser's talent. Recast it, makes another 1/1. Paralysis, taxes for 2. Seems good. It's white-blue, like, aggressive tempo list. I think I've seen stuff like this. I want to say they have the potential of playing, whatchamacallit? Just like a bunch of interaction tempo stuff, and then also the Tolarian Terror. Alright, well, we're taking 6. This list is very, like, they're popping off for sure. Not only did they have just like a very good opener, they have all of the interaction they could possibly want. Yeah, I don't think we can win this game. Not with this slow of a start. Wow. That draw does nothing for us. Well, we'll try. Like, gonna play this and gotta pray. Like, I got nothing. Maybe if we would have had like a Roxanne or something to start shooting these tokens down. Rather you not, thanks. Alright, this is where we die next turn. I got nothing. Like, what was our plan of action? Talent. Yeah, go ahead. Do the thing. Pixie to return talent, replay talent, attack for 9, put us to 1. Again, temporary lockdown's gonna be good against this deck, obviously. Ugh, so many clicks. Alright, and our last draw of the game is a get loss, which does nothing. Yeah, I don't want to reveal anything else, so. That was pretty poor showing, pretty bad draws. We had none of our, like, mana acceleration outside of Ironcrag, which wasn't really doing anything, so we just kept drawing lands, and, you know, those 2 Atalis literally stood in our hand, so we didn't get the opportunity to get to 7. So temporary lockdown, for sure. Immediately, yes. Now, as for... Like, Invasion feels bad, because it's not like they're playing, like, a sweeper or something. Like, Vivian kind of feels awkward. I think our best bets are probably taking out... Honestly, this Anapakal is not going to do anything. Like, making the 1/1s is not going to be good enough. And I think Get Lost is kind of awkward. Like, it's good against the talents, but I don't want to necessarily... Yeah, I think we take out 2 of these, because I don't want to give them the tokens, and I also don't want to have, you know, get blown out trying to blow up a Storm Chaser's talent and have it, like, this town ain't big enough. I don't want that to be our plan. We have to be the aggressor. This is not aggressive. This is kind of sad. All right. Let's just hope for a really good 2-drop. A Ruby here would be kind of tight as fuck. I'm not gonna lie. Ruby or an Iron Craig? Either or. You'd have Koilas. Well, that just came out of nowhere. You want? You can have this Atali. I don't think I'm gonna hit anytime soon, so. We saw none of this. What the f? They've like completely changed colors of lands. It was white-blue before, now it's Esper, and they have no blue. I am so lost. Okay, like, do we even have a chance? Do we even have a chance anymore? Like, I was so unprepared for hard color switch into Hopeless Nightmare discard. We were not anticipating that one bit. There's talent. Man, what is this list? We're just getting crushed. Stop! Stop! I need these cards, man. Fucking need these cards. Stop! It's so gross. Are you gonna play frickin' whatchamacallit 2? Are we expecting I'm trying to think of the card name, sorry. Rottenmouth Viper. Like, what the fuck? I'll tell you, it looks like this weird Esper Rottenmouth Viper deck. That's the best way I can explain it. What is this nonsense? Alright, well, we got lucky, hit the land. Roxanne doubled. Hopefully. No, counterspell? Not counterspell. Alright. Interesting. Do we let the 3/3 live? No. All this is problematic though. I really did not want them to have removal for the Roxanne immediately. I was hoping for like sorcery speed removal maybe, so they at least had to do stuff on their turn instead of just beating us down on our turn. Ugh. Well, we are doing that. Because I want to cast 4 free spells, please. 4 free spells, please. 4 free spells, please. Right. Perfect. Perfect. Wow, that might have been like the grossest Atali, sorry, the grossest Atali I've ever had. Dear goodness. Yeah, that was a lot. That was a lot. What a crazy Atali. I just want to put out, we have all these creatures we have that are on the battlefield right now all have summoning sickness. Everything that came out last turn on our entire board was all off of one Atali. That's crazy, crazy. All right, let's go Mura. Into a Ruby. Gain some more life. Put us back to a reasonable total. play a land, get attack in. You, and yeah, you. Okay, so 5. Another land. Ooh, and a soul partition. I dare you to block. I dare you to block. I dare you to block. That's game. Alright. I like what we did. I like the temporary lockdown still. I was not anticipating them having all of that black with the discard. Again, I don't think we can change anything. Maybe Forge over the 2 more Get Losts. Nah, I'm just gonna run it back. Forge might be a little too slow, and they can just bounce it, right? With either this town ain't big enough, or like Into the Flood Maw, or something else. This is all its counters. We get no action. They're just gonna be attacking us for like 2 to like 6 in the air. Again, not great, but if we hit, if we hit a 2, if we hit a Ruby or a Iron Craig, we might be. That's going to play taps. So I don't really want that one necessarily. Plus, we have the Watley, which is going to find us another one, so we have our 5th. That's fine. Just passed away. They're not playing anything, which is a good sign for us. We're not taking a bunch of damage. This is interesting. I think we go Iron Craig. Why would we leave that open? Why would it? Oh, I guess it doesn't do damage to us. That makes sense. We're gonna go red, colorless though. Leave up Soul Partition just in case we need to. Pay of Counterspell for Iron Craig, whatever. Alright, perfect. Alright, what are we worried about? Well, that's gonna go. I do not want that. Plus, we can't kill it with Roxanne, which we're gonna try to cast next turn. Alright, so Scavenger plus something. Like, what do you got? We're just gonna cast this Roxanne. It puts us one, like, land draw away from just hard casting the Atali, which is kind of sick. We like casting Atalis. Alright. So they have to have... So they have to have something. Nowhere to run, counter. They kill our Roxanne, but we still get to kill their guy. Hopefully. I can't think of a flash black blue enchantment. Alright. So we have Watley to find that 7th land. If we don't find it naturally, we have a Tali if we do. We did. I'm assuming they don't have Counterspell. I really don't think they have Counterspell. Gotta think it. Plus, if we're one land, next turn we can go Watley and then play the land that we find and then flip her, which I think is very powerful, because that's 8. Decline. All right, what do we get? I got something red. I got a, oh, fucking nice. All right, I will take both. We don't think they have board wipe, right? Like, why would they play Sunfall now? It makes no sense. So yeah, again, we're not flipping the Iron Craig. We don't need the extra 3 damage. I'd rather just have that extra mana, so we're oh my goodness. We're guaranteed to have the ability to go Watley, Poet of Unity. Flip. Entity Tracker, recast for 5. Makes sense. They're gonna try to draw a bunch of cards. Nurturing Pixie, rebounce the... Nowhere to run? Is that good enough? Do they have double nowhere to run? Draw 2 cards, take out my Dragonhawk? Is that what we're going for here? Oh, that's unfortunate. So it's when it attacks as well. Just trying to think of what we want to do here. We could double Soul Partition, swing for 12. Yeah, let's just do that. Soul Partition. Soul Partition. They have no, we swing, and then we just don't cast a spell, they die. We got it. GG's! Naya Midrange, reign supreme. Feels good, guys. All right, we will catch you in the next video. We went 3-0 today. Heyo everybody, thank you for making it to the end of the video. Again, my name is cnhConquest. I try to put out Magic content on a fairly regular basis. You can also find me over at twitch.tv/cnhConquest. Any of the games you see on the side of the screen over here, that is all stuff that we are playing, I guess, pretty frequently. Yeah. Love your faces, thank you so much for supporting me, and please like, subscribe, comment to the video, and hopefully we'll see you over in the Twitch side as well. Bye!